Welcome to Blue57 Scouting Report. Today I am joined with Jack Jones at Auburn, and he's on campus, and he's going to give us the inside scoop on what's going on at Auburn. Jack, how's everything down at Auburn today?
Well, it's good so far. I mean, we'll see how the game goes later today. See how everyone's feeling.
So what's your guess on what happens in today's game?
I think it'll be close. We like to play away games really close. You know, we struggle playing out of Jordan Hare, so we'll see what goes on. I mean, I think we barely pull out a win because Gus likes to, whenever he really needs the win, he gets it.
When the pressure's on, he delivers.
hmm
So, talk to me a little bit about what's going on with the recruiting this year. I know the numbers are a little bit down, and I'm kind of curious what you're seeing with the recruiting.
Yeah, I saw. Let me pull it up. I mean, it's just crazy. We're top 15 the last decade,
Right.
and outside top 30, we're like 42 or something right now.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, we just don't have near as many recruits as we usually do. Our offensive recruiting is way, way lower than usual. We just had that running back we had him committed for a while. He just decommitted early this month. Um,
Yeah.
but I mean, we've got a few good defensive commits, 4 stars that are still up there. But it's just not the same volume as usual.
Well, they'll probably end up getting their volume when it's all said and done, but I think they're going to have to move further down the chart. Do
Right.
you think? I don't understand why Auburn is not getting as many of those South Georgia kids this year. It seems like that's been the gold for Auburn for a long time. It's been a funnel from South Georgia to Auburn.
Mhm.
Auburn technically, in my mind, is a South Georgia location. I mean, it's right there on the border between Alabama and Georgia. They just didn't get the South Georgia kids this year. And
Right.
what do you see? What do you think's going on?
I don't know if it's the their players are scared away from the team. They think it's heading downwards. We had an off year. You know, we started with Kentucky, got a win. Then that Georgia game was brutal. Just didn't have any action at all. Looked terrible. We up and down throughout the season. You know, we're sitting at 5-4 right now. So I don't know if they're scared away by the record. If the recruiting, I think, definitely could be going better through like just the recruitment standpoint of guys going down there. We've got Kevin Steele working, trying to get guys, and I think Chad Morris got a few guys definitely with his first year. I don't know if it's the change of pace with Chad coming in, if it's messing with the flow. I don't really know. A lot of different aspects going in through it.
Well, when we had our earlier Blue 57, when we were doing an earlier broadcast, one of the things we talked about is Auburn is a feel-good school. When you go to Auburn on
Family.
game day, when you go on game day, you feel the love.
Mhm.
A lot of beautiful people walking around, a lot of tailgates, everybody's having fun. It is it is there. You just feel it, and it's a very exciting atmosphere to be around. When you can't do that because of COVID and all the restrictions that NCAA's put on everybody, um, it just changes the dynamics. It's harder to
Mhm.
sell a school like Auburn just over the phone, and I think Auburn is like South Carolina, where they've kind of lived off of getting people on campus. Once they get them on campus, they sell them on it. It's harder to
Yeah.
sell it when it comes down to just records and these other things that are going on. And so I think a lot of that's part of it. Um, is there you see any potential there might be some coaching changes at the end of the season with any of the assistants or even a head coach?
I think it's tough because Gus, he'll get it done. He keeps us in the conversation every year. And every time you make a coaching change, it's like with nowadays in football, you're struggling. Magic answer is get a different coach. And you
Right.
always want to see production with a coach. You got to think about, is the coach I'm going to hire really going to give better results? Why would I make a change if we're just going to go down? So it's hard to say because I think I was looking, and after his first season in 2013, he hasn't had less than 4 losses after that. And we want to really be in the top echelon with Alabama and Georgia and Florida. And,
Right.
it's just everyone's really not liking, just dealing with 4 losses every single year and up to 5 losses some years. So, and especially this year, it's hard because, you're playing SEC football every single week. So
Yeah.
competition has really racked up, and you got to deal with Georgia and South Carolina and Alabama, especially dealing with Alabama every single year. It's tough.
Well, Texas A&M is better. They're a better program right now. I
Yeah.
mean, they're always good. They're always really good, but they're even better now. LSU is, they're a little bit off this year, but they've just dominated for a long time. They are always in that top group. I think Mississippi State is on the way back up. Clearly, with Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss, he's a great coach. He'll get his players out of Florida, and they'll be back up there. So you're right. It's week in, week out. You got to be good, and obviously Alabama is, with Nick Saban. As long as Nick Saban's there, they're going to be in the top three. So
Right.
that I don't care if the guy's 85 years old, he'll still get his stuff because he has such a good system.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I think that conference, the SEC West, is brutal, and then you guys, your conference rival is Georgia, so they've been in the top five
Yeah.
for a long time, so you don't get any breaks there either. So yeah,
Mm,
and I don't know that there's a savior coach out there. I really don't think there is. I mean, I just
yeah.
don't, so I think the other thing that Auburn's kind of dealing with is some of these other schools, they've come into the state of Alabama. Tennessee's plucked a guy. You got Ole Miss has plucked a guy. You got enough schools that pluck a guy here and there, and it's hard for them to keep some of those in-state guys too. So
Mm,
you're kind of dealing with a lot of different dynamics. I'm sure they will sign 25 guys on signing day, and if
right.
they don't get them on Wednesday. They'll get them in February, and they'll get their guys. And I think that's my thought on when you got a coach like Gus Malzahn, who is an experienced coach who understands so much about the game. He is going to get the guys that he needs. So even though 24/7 has their numbers and they got them at 42 and all that, Gus Malzahn does not care one bit about what 24/7
Yeah.
thinks. He just needs the right guys for the right positions. So the truth about it is that if he gets his guys, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter really where he shows up. But for the average fan, they get caught up in a lot of these numbers. I'm sure that the fan base, the student population at Auburn, they all want to be in that top 10. Throw them some
Yeah.
raw meat. Throw them some raw meat so they can have fun with it all. And I totally get that. But it, like you said, it's been a weird year. COVID-19 has been, kind of changed the dynamics in a lot of ways. And doesn't Gus Malzahn still have a pretty high buyout if he were to leave?
Yeah, it's pretty high. It's let me look. I think it's somewhere in 10 million.
I mean,
Um,
the $10 million range is in the big scheme of things for Auburn boosters is not that big of a deal if they really want to make the
21
thing.
million. I think what I've been hearing is they've been collecting some money together to see what would happen with Mississippi State today. The fan base is just about done with it, but it's just tough because, it's like I said earlier, are you going to upgrade at the head coaching position if you actually go through with it? But I think the fan base at this point is about done with it.
Yeah. So are they screaming about Hugh Freeze? Is that
I think that's top what people are thinking.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we would have liked to get Lane if we had pulled the trigger before making that contract extension. But now, hindsight. But yeah, I think Hughes in the top conversation if we did end up moving on from Gus.
Yeah, yeah. So how much did you say his buyout was?
21
Wow.
million 450.
Oh,
So
wow. Yeah,
hefty.
yeah. The timing on that, yeah. I mean, and that is just a bad management practice to pay somebody that much money. I mean, it's not
Exactly.
like he hasn't won a game all season. It hasn't been that kind of season. You can get it if a team is
Right.
just horribly struggling. I think Auburn's kind of been on the margins. To me, if I'm a player for that team, I'm going to throw everything I can at it today to beat Mississippi State, so that and that gives Gus a little bit of a vote of confidence from the players.
Hmm.
If they don't play well today, these things can get emotional. If they finish out the
Yeah.
last game on a bad note, man, those alumni get very emotional about it.
Would
So
be 500 in the SEC going against, 5-5 only SEC opponents. I
yeah,
agree. Everyone
yeah.
would really.
Yeah, that's the other thing that hurt these SEC coaches this year is you needed to have that Alcorn State and one of those games
Exactly.
in there as mixes, maybe a Georgia Southern or something like that. You needed some of those games in there
Because they
to
just didn't catch any breaks going
no,
through.
they didn't get any breaks this year at all. So
Yeah.
Vanderbilt suffered early. South Carolina suffered on
Yeah.
from theirs, and it looks like Auburn suffering a little bit from there. So anyway, I appreciate your perspective on it. This is interesting stuff, and
Mhm.
keep us in the loop on what's going on there, and just we'll be looking for Auburn on signing day and see what happens.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you.